Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Laura Canfield Show. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm so excited. You know, today's a super full moon, so lots of energy. It's a very high vibe, potent, intense day. I don't know how it is for you guys, but, you know, building up to today, too, has been quite intense, and it's going to continue. So on that note, I'm so glad today that we have with us a brand new speaker, guest speaker with us. Gabrielle Spencer is here with us to talk about conscious wealth creation in the new light energy of the golden heart frequency. So this, you know, when I hear anything about the golden heart, it's like, oh yes, I'm there. You know, it's like I'm all about the heart and I'm all about gold, as we all know. And so, and consciousness and light. So it's like, yes, let's talk about conscious wealth creation in the new light energy of the golden heart frequency. And what does that mean? And how can we all function from our hearts, number one, and with light, with passion, with, you know, consciousness, and create that, you know, wealth that we would like for ourselves and for our community and for the planet, right? So how much fun can we have in our conversation today? I'm just like, I'm already buzzing, so I'm so excited. For those of you who don't know Gabrielle Spencer, she's known as the practical spiritualist and the heart harmonizer for activation of your soul's life purpose so you can ignite your abundance. And Gabrielle is here to help you multidimensionally clear your heart, spirit, and mind's energy to shift you into your inner power and dramatically raise your vibration. And so I just think it's so funny. I'll tell you in a second why I'm laughing. And Gabrielle provides now moment guidance for your quickest path to clearing out what is keeping you from reclaiming your own soul's purpose and abundance. And so get ready to have your abilities and gifts activated so that you become the intentional creator of your life, destiny, and abundance. I mean, like, wow, I'm excited because like we're talking about creating your life, right? Creating wealth, and wealth means different things for different people, you know, but it's about creating your life from a place of a higher vibration, a higher frequency from your heart, which of course means wealth and abundance and prosperity for everybody, right? And then this new paradigm and this new way that we're moving forward. And like I said, today's it's the super full moon. And I was talking earlier in my gratitude post and in my other call, my healing call, about, hey, what's one tool that you use to raise your vibration? And I was just mentioning I just got a new Tibetan singing bowl, another tool to raise my vibration, because it is about raising your vibration. And the more and more that we do that, the more that we can create with more ease. So I'm so excited. So Gabrielle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to see you here live. I love all the energy and everyone working together to help raise the vibration. It's easier to do, as you know, together versus on your own. And that's why we gather, all of us. And it's also why I'm here in London with other high vibrational beings, because when we work together, we all join, it's easier to create and have what it is that we're all talking about. Raise that vibration to the golden heart frequency, which is a fifth dimensional and higher frequency. It's without limit, and it's connected to the golden sun, actually. And so you go through the great central sun to the golden sun. So we're talking really high vibrational frequency that's available. The thing is that each of us have to be at a frequency to be able to receive it and assimilate it and then utilize it. So that's where we talk about the spiritual and practical coming together, because it's not all just, okay, I'm at the frequency. There is an action that comes after, and that's the practical piece that many are missing. You know, we're still being called to perform, and that's because we still live in a third dimensional existence. So we have the opportunity to be a higher vibrational being functioning in a third dimensional space until we're able to merge that and create the bridge over into the higher vibration. Until that time, we still have to be one here, right? Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So that's the challenge for so many, because as this super full moon, as you say, and the higher vibrational energies that are just hitting us it's constant now, where in the past we had bigger breaks to absorb, right? We had longer amounts of time to absorb what was happening, and to be able to assimilate it and kind of see where we came out on the other side of it, right?
Right.
And now I liken it to being a surfer, okay? So what happens if you're going to go surf one of those crazy waves, like the tsunami waves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're about 30 feet high. And what happens is you have to be a pro to even have a chance to survive the wave. So for most people, that means pro means that you are at a high vibration and you can bring these in and assimilate them quickly and continue going, because it doesn't feel to me like there's a big stopgap. Like it
Right.
just continually is coming and coming and coming. And that's what we're all talking about with regard to the intensity. And so how do you create and live in this world if you're constantly being bombarded by energies that leave you out of alignment? Because that's what I see the most when I work with people, is why are things off? It's because it's almost like you're disjointed, like your
Mm-hmm.
whole physical, etheric, energetic self hasn't realigned and brought yourself back together, and then you operate from that new higher place. So that seems to me to be one of the biggest disconnects. And so when we talk about conscious wealth creation, it's consciously knowing and understanding and being able to call in and connect with that higher vibrational frequency and direct it to what you're wanting to create through your heart, your high heart. That's how we do it. And so for many people, that's the harder part. It's like, well, I get the heart piece and it should just happen. But actually, it can just happen. But I want to go with more like that's more hit or miss, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're conscious beings, and our objective is to be able to create consciously, know what it is we're creating. So if you want to create an apple, that's an apple. It's not just I want an apple and it should just appear. It's being able to actually create it with the energy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of us, I mean, I always think of, the gurus that have been able to reach into the matrix and do that for the longest time. And that's because they came in unlimited, right? They came
Right.
in with access. And the access means to the higher vibrational frequency. And I always think of the Matrix movie, because the idea is just being in the frequency and being able to manipulate and move the frequency. And in order to be at a frequency high enough that you're not just creating chaos, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
chaos is at the lower spectrum, then you have to be at a higher vibration, because that unlocks the higher frequencies and your understanding of them and your ability to reach in and tap it and pull it out, what it is that you're wanting to create, right? So it's this piece that begins with the high heart, and the high heart being opened. And now with the golden heart frequency, it have moved it to where it's continually evolving how much of it we're able to bring in and hold and channel back out.
Mm-hmm.
I always see it like a lighthouse, where you're the beacon, right? And it just goes everywhere. Well, now they've brought us to a place where the golden flame is ignited in your high heart. So that's the newest, latest piece of the golden heart frequency. So the beginning piece is releasing you from the lower third dimensional mass consciousness of victim, victimizer, which is generally how that fear frequency operates, right? It creates victims and people who victimize. And it's not one or the other. Generally, it's, you're playing all sides, right? And so when you're stuck in that, it's very hard to raise your frequency high enough if you're always being pulled down. And that's, the first hurdle. So that was the first piece when the golden heart frequency opened last summer. Then now we moved into the next piece of that, which was getting you in alignment with that fifth dimensional higher golden heart frequency. And then the third is, so far, and I say so far because I know there's more, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
always more. Every time I
Always
think to
more.
myself, oh, wow, that's so cool. That's it. That's the answer. And then as we go, we
Yeah.
learn, wait, the more our frequency rises, we're given new information. So where I am currently and what I've received is that golden flame ignition within your high heart. And that just magnifies your ability to hold more light and project it and create with it. So I'm excited as we journey forward what this means for us.
Me too, absolutely. And you're talking about this golden flame being ignited, and that's something that I just did last week or the week before in one of my channel processes, because I never know before I do anything. It just happens, it's just
Yes.
in that moment, right? So it's like, oh, I know, we did that.
See, that's in my package, actually, that third piece of it, because that's what I love about working with higher vibrational beings and working with the other side, is that everybody gets the same information. You're in Vienna and I'm in Florida. We've never spoken, and I haven't really talked about this actually on any summits yet, because it's out there, but I've been busy. Yeah. So eventually, right, when you get to talk about it. So it always amazes me how the same information comes to everyone. Yeah. It is just about where you are to be able to receive it and assimilate it, absorb what happened, and be able to then utilize it and see how that changes your life. And, I had somebody say to me, gosh, you have like a really gold ball, like all in here. And I laughed because this person had no idea that I do the golden heart frequency transmission. So it was really fascinating. I love it. I think it's great confirmation for all of us.
Oh, absolutely. And, I've been working with the golden liquid light and the golden frequency for quite a while, but I never asked questions. It's like, well, what does this mean? It's like, okay, cool. Let's just do it. Let's just work with it. Let's just play with it. And, and now I'm finding that more and more, it is about the more that we can raise our vibration and our frequency, the more that we can actually create consciously, right? And so the more that we raise our vibration, the more we can stay at that higher vibration. But it's like and this is what you were saying earlier, the integration period seems to be less and less. It's like we don't have time to integrate before we get another bump and another bump. And so it's like we're constantly in this period of getting these downloads, getting these frequencies, trying to integrate them and adjust to them, and then we're hit again, and it's like, okay. So it's like, and our body doesn't always catch up either, so it took me down for 2 weeks because I was sick for 2 weeks, and it's like, I knew that's what it was. It's like, I'm just, and my body's saying, I need to integrate some of this stuff, that's been coming through, and then to catch up, right? And so what can we all do to have more ease with that so that we can create?
There's a couple things actually, and one of them is, and this we've all, I'm going to say a lot of us have been talking about it more recently than probably ever before, and that is the health of your physical body. Because my goodness, you just burn through so much of yourself, and the physical body is taking a hit. It doesn't matter how young or old you are. It seems to be that I would almost say it feels like it's lost its resiliency in a way. It just doesn't seem to, I don't know, it's like a tugboat versus, a tugboat versus, a Ferrari car before, it didn't keep you down. Like, we assimilated in it. And I do believe that as we continue along this ascension timeline, it's going to get faster and faster and more intense. And I believe that that is basically to make us move. I mean, I think that it's designed. It's no longer like, I'm going to get to it whenever. You're going to do it right now. Right. And so for everybody who thinks, well, I'll get to that eventually, or, whatever, I'll do this course later or what have you. The answer is no, you're going to do it right now. So for everybody, it feels like it's overwhelming. And that's what I get the sense of for most people. So the first part is, I have integrated for my own self several different things. One is Boku Superfood. It's BOKU Superfood. And I own nothing in this company, but I love them. They are so fabulous. And if you were to read the ingredients, you'd be shocked that it's in a powder, and it tastes good and it doesn't smell bad. And you're like, wow, this is fantastic. So I have that at breakfast. And then I have an organic coffee, because I still drink coffee. I love coffee. And so I drink an organic dark roast, and in it it's made by Sarva Foods, and it's a Mayan cacao superfood blend. So I am superfooding it everywhere, more
Right.
so than vitamins, because your body can assimilate them, and you need this high caliber energy to
Mm-hmm.
deal with. And so you're not wiped out,
Right.
because that's the other part of this overwhelming energy, is that your physical body, and it is asking, like we talked about, that tugboat, it's asking that tugboat to be a speedboat.
Right.
And it doesn't make the transition. So you have to help your own cells handle this energy. So that's why I think that I continually am increasing the superfood thing, because I find that it really works for me and it keeps me going, and I need less sleep. You know this, the more energy that we bring in, right, you
Mm-hmm.
actually get less sleep. So
Yeah.
your physical body still has to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
People are like, why am I not sleeping very much? Well, because you're a conductor, you're a
Mm-hmm.
superconductor,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And you are just being influenced all the time, because our hearts are open. It's not like you go, well, I'm going to bed now, shut it down. I mean, how many people on this call, how much work are you doing in the night? I mean, we're
Yeah.
doing a lot of work
Yeah.
all the time. And
Yeah.
so then, yeah, when we wake up, if your body is exhausted before your feet touch the floor, then you're not consciously creating, because
Exactly.
you're exhausted. Okay. And there's no energy to put for that. And so taking care of the physical vessel at this point is super important. And that's why, all the people who talk about self-love and, having the massage or taking the break. I mean, this is the reason, because your body, if you don't have a vehicle, you're not holding light for the planet.
True.
Okay.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's just one of those things. It's like you have to have one in order to do the other. And we all know that our life mission is to be here and to hold the light and to make that huge impact in the world and in the planet, and to help all of us, or as many as possible, to move into that higher fifth dimensional frequency, which
Mm-hmm.
is the golden heart frequency. It's 500 and above.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to create the opening for this portal of energy and to move into this higher vibrational being all the time, like you said, we have to hold the baseline of 500. It's almost like to open that door. Right now, I feel like we're building the bridge, right? We're all building it and we're raising our vibration. And I call it the golden heart bridge. Others call it the rainbow bridge, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're all building the bridge, and the door is not open. We haven't reached a frequency that unlocks that door yet. Okay, so frequency is what unlocks everything. It unlocks universal knowledge and universal ability to tap into divine energy, into divine flow. And that's why frequency, and we've talked about it for the longest time, when we're holding a higher vibrational frequency, that is when you're more in tune with not just divine flow, but when you're out of it, when you're misaligned, when things aren't, you don't know why, right? It's not because of just a belief or limitation that it's out of, it's because you might have to do an adjustment, right? And that's where we are. I mean, there comes a point where, everybody's talked about limitations and beliefs for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
And now the answer is yes, that was kindergarten, like last year.
Yeah.
We're being pushed by the universe to basically move into the next phase, right? So the beliefs and limitations, if those are still holding you back, then you have to catch up. And the
Mm-hmm.
great thing about the higher frequencies is that by saying yes and participating, you're able to clear them out faster than we ever were, right?
Yeah.
And so that's available. It's almost like a get out of jail free card. It's like, wow. So you don't have to do 20 years that it took me to get to where I am now. You're able to do it a whole lot faster, right? That's the benefit. But all of us then have to move as a group. And this is the part where people of the light have not always done well in the past. We've not always been able to consciously create together. So far we've been doing it kind of on our own, trying to work it and create for ourselves and our own well-being. And this next phase is going to be, yes, you're good at that. So if that's an area that you need to work on, people need to be using this energy to help them do that, because you need to be in a place where you have your own baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come together as a group to seed it for the whole planet. because we're at the seeding for that fifth dimensional frequency now.
Awesome.
So
And I
20
love that
years
because,
ago, I
sorry.
ran around the country, the world, helping to release things.
Mm-hmm.
And now here I find myself, we're seeding the new templates, the new operating instructions. That's what the new templates of origin are. They are the new operating instructions for how we're going to move into this higher vibrational frequency. So that takes a
Awesome.
group effort.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. You can't do it by yourself, right? Like we've learned that, through the ages, that you can't do anything by yourself. You can do a little bit, but you can't make any exponential shifts and growth by yourself, right? It takes a community, it takes a village, it takes collaboration. And now with the raising of our frequency, raising of our vibration, you're right, it's faster and faster and faster. And it's like it's speeding up in such a way too that it's actually getting easier if you're able to hold that frequency, if you're able to stay present, stay grounded, and stay focused on what am I doing, like what is important to me, what is my priority, am I staying above the 3D mainstream stuff that's going on, and that's how we start to raise our vibration and keep it elevated by staying out of the drama and trauma that's still going on in some places, right?
Right.
And
it's releasing the triggers, whatever triggers you to pull you back in.
yeah, and not getting caught up again and again and
it's
again.
where you're able to just be an observer. And it doesn't mean you don't participate. And I think that for a lot of people that doesn't make sense. But I always think of it like a submarine, right? So the submarine, you have a periscope and it allows you to look up above the water to see what's going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the submarine and the crew, they decide if they're going to engage or not engage. And that's really what we're talking about here is this something that I need to engage in or just allow it to play out? And you will find that in the everyday 3D drama, many times it doesn't require your participation.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if you really want to participate, the best thing that you can do to help resolve it is to connect through your high heart and add the positive light energy to the whole situation for it to be worked out for everyone's best. And, the other part of us as humans that our mind has a hard time grasping is that the best doesn't mean that everybody comes out a winner. What it means, our definition of a winner, because for each of us, we may need the kick in the butt in order to move forward for your highest and best to come, right? And so it's then being unattached to what that looks like. Like when you're adding light to a situation, it's not with the specific parameters of what that would mean for it to be a win for you, right? It's just allowing it to be what it needs to be based on each person's soul, their higher self, and for your own too. And that's probably, as human, the hardest part for many, is to be able to just allow and trust, right? And have all those parts and just be connected to the light, knowing that you're holding the energy for the whole thing to be resolved.
Yeah, in the highest and best way, that it will be. So I just wanted to talk about, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show that if you have a question or a comment, you can type it into the chat, or if you're feeling brave, you can raise your hand and come on and ask a question. Just, if you know how to do that, just there's a button that says raise my hand. I never know how to do it. I don't do it very often. But if you'd like to, you can. So I wanted to talk about the conscious wealth creation. So what does that look like and what does that mean? Because I know that there are a lot of people on the call and in the community who may be struggling with creating more wealth or having abundance or, creating the life that they desire.
I'm reading Carolyn's asking a question. So when we talk about conscious creation, one of the first and most important aspects of it is to know what you want, of course. Secondly, it's what does the divine want? What does your soul want? So again, we are back to the separation of human versus your divine self. That's what we're really talking about. And being in alignment with your divine self. So Carolyn's question is, how do I manifest the money I want to fix my kitchen? Here is the thing that I have found for my clients and for myself over the years. It's you're asking your soul, what is it that I need for me to be in alignment with my highest divine self? Okay. Now, here's the beautiful thing about it. When you get in alignment with what that is, then the money for things that you need for your life comes, not because you went out specifically to go raise the $100,000 that you need to fix your house, but because in divine alignment, nothing is limited. Does that make sense? What?
Yes, absolutely.
Carolyn says yes.
Yeah.
So when we put as humans our emphasis on, I need a new car, I need a bike, I need a partner, well, that's where we put all of our energy.
Mm-hmm.
But what I find is that your divine self, your soul, knows for you the fastest way to get that. But when we use our mind instead of our heart to say, well, but I really need a car, right? I could do A, B, and C if I had a car, right? And that's because that's what our mind is saying. So already you know you're not in divine flow, okay? Because our mind disconnects us from divine flow. And for a lot of times I'll tell people, just close your eyes and have somebody ask you the question, whatever it is, you know, what's in my highest and best, or what's in alignment with my divine self. What's amazing is when your eyes are closed, this is not always the first thing to answer. It will come from within you, okay? But it's the eyes that, you know, you're thinking and you're looking and you're doing all this stuff. So that's part of it, is getting that inner self to be able to speak to you and that you hear it, even if it seems like the wackiest thing. Like we started talking about beforehand, you know, okay, I flew to London today, so I did an all-nighter, and we already had agreed to do this call, and I said, you know, should I just reschedule and not do it because I'm just arriving and there's A, B, and C reasons why it doesn't make sense and blah, blah. But I got the answer, no, you're going to do it. And I thought, okay, fine, I will. And here's the beautiful thing about it. It all works out beautifully. Here we are. And I'm actually with a group of people that are high vibrational. So when we're connecting, we're already at high. Then we connect with you. And I realized our connecting together and me talking about this, we're here to seed conscious wealth and abundance creation here in London. That's what our mission objective is, and we'll see how that unfolds. But what I understood is that we need all of us to join together. So it's like we create an oversoul, and we're all working together to do this conscious wealth creation. And so by me keeping this appointment with you and your entire audience, that means we just brought with us, I'm getting chills like crazy. We've exponentially raised our own vibration to do this amazing amount of work to bring us to a fifth dimensional wealth creation, right?
Yeah. Oh,
So
wow.
you can understand, right, why I'm doing it and why the answer was, no, you're going to keep it. It was actually perfectly divine before I even knew I was doing this trip. I mean, that's what's so cool about being in divine alignment, is because when you sent me like the 3 dates to choose from, I clearly heard this date. And I said, okay, I'll do that date. It's fine. You know, and so it cracks me up because the other side knows, they can see out far and wide. I always think of it like we're down in the valley, right? We can only see what's here, but your soul can see over the whole thing and figure out how to get you where you need to be. If you're listening, you'll get there a lot faster. So that money that you need to buy the car, the house, or whatever, it will come a lot faster, because it's not that your soul doesn't know. It's that there may be other things that have to come in place in order for that to happen. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely. And like, you know, some people are very intuitive, right? Very intuitive and very connected, you know, with their guidance and their support team. But I think sometimes they might get stuck on a certain area, and it's like they just can't tap into that at all. They can't
and they
hear
get
that.
stuck.
Yeah.
That's when you get stuck. And we were just talking about this at dinner. It's that, you know, okay, so we're running along and you're in divine flow, and then the everyday 3D stuff comes in, right? It's like, oh my God, I have to send out this email, I have to do this and this, and then my mind takes over, and then suddenly I'll realize, oh wait, where'd the energy go? And it's because I went totally into my mind versus staying in my heart and just following along as I need to, right? And so we're all being made aware that we all need to be every day bringing yourself back into alignment, because it's almost like how media happens these days, right? Where the news flashes are changing because the energy is so intense. And so we are doing a mission, but then there are all these missions within the mission. So in order to stay in alignment with that and not miss the cues, like what we're talking about, even how all this is aligned, you can't stay here. You have to be here all the time. And that, for me, I've learned, when I work with people, they would always say, I want to work on this specifically. And whenever I go to the other side and I connect with their highest self and their soul, we end up in that area, but we never start there, right? Because there's other things that have to be cleared and healed and your vibration raised in order for us to even work on that piece over there, right?
Yeah.
And so it works the same thing with conscious wealth creation. So when we allow ourselves not to become fixated that, having money will solve 10 problems, and that's all you fixate. Like, I could do it when. The answer isn't I can do it when 8 things line up and all these things happen, then I will go ahead and do my mission. The answer is you have to do it now, because that's where you are. And when you do that, all these superfluous things will fall in alignment for you. And other opportunities will come better than even the things you thought you wanted. And that, for me, is probably the best part about the work that I do. Is that's where the miracles are. That's what people consider a miracle. And actually it becomes just normal. And so you don't actually think of it a miracle anymore. It's fascinating how that changes, because it's not like a one-off. It actually happens all the time, where just beautiful synchronicities just line up and you're like, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, and like, how did that happen? I don't even know. It's like it's like as if by magic, right? And
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what we all mean when we say magic and miracles, but other people don't understand that that's what we're saying. And that is the magic and miracles. It's being in the divine flow and allowing, yes, I want certain things. And it's knowing that by me following what it is I'm meant to do, that will come in just as it's meant to, right? As the opportunities come, people come into your life, and things that you never could have arranged on your own. That's how I always describe it. It's stuff that I could never have planned on my own, and things that I could never have planned it to unravel itself in the way that it does. Like my own mental capacity, I don't know how I would ever have accomplished it. And so that's how I know, right, that it's not me. It's
absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah, that's the part that conscious creation is about. It's really being in alignment with your divine energetic self, with your soul. That's what that is. And allowing all the little nudges and just trusting them and going with it. And that's the part that I think is now an adventure, where in the past it scared me to death. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Why would I do that? Right? And that's the part that, for people, if you are asking yourself that, like, why would I do that? I need to do A, B, and C first, and then I'll get to that. Well, that's right there telling you that's the block, that you're not willing to do what's right in front of you that you're supposed to do. You're just putting it off, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've had so many experiences like that where, it's like, as I look back, on my life past couple of years, especially, it's like so many of those types of instances, and all those times, it was not my mind that was creating it. It was just being in my heart space and saying, basically, this is what I want. This is what I really want. This is what I want. And I'm feeling it so strongly, and, joyfully, not from a need and a lack, but just joyfully. And then it happens, and it's like, wow, how did that happen? And it was like, and it's wonderful. And it's like, so now I'm thinking, okay, so my last miracle was my puppy, Neo, that we got in November, as if by magic, and he's just perfect. It's like, oh my God, so it's like, oh, I wonder what else, what do I want now?
Right.
So
and things you don't even know you want until it shows up. And that's what being in divine flow is. It's not about I think you move from the energetic of need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another big limitation for people, is they spend a lot of time in the I need this. And that part, then it pushes away, and energetically it pushes it away what's already in plan for you, because the universe has its plan for you. And then when we are separated, we are not tapped into that plan, so we're creating our own plan, right? And then rarely does that mind created plan or the need based plan
Mm-hmm.
coincide with your higher energetic divine plan. And so for people, it's a little bit hard sometimes to be able to stay on that higher trajectory of just, I want to say just light, where that's the trust factor. But it's more than that. And we have moved beyond just the simple words of trust, because it's willingness to allow your highest aspect of you to be in charge. That's
Mm.
where the human side has a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
is giving up control, right? I
We
talk
are
to so
all
many people,
recovering control freaks. I'm, card
right?
carrying member.
Exactly. And that's the part that people have the hardest time, stepping out of that energetic and allowing. And for me, people would say you need to surrender. And I don't know about you, Alara, but for me, I just don't even say the word.
I always
Okay.
hated that word. It's like, I don't
Yeah.
get that word. I can't surrender. What does that even
Yeah.
mean? It's like, no. I fought
Agreed.
with people about that word. It's like, no.
No, you cannot have that word, because it for many lifetimes, people, that was used for things that bring up very bad memories, right? So it's not about surrender for me. I like the word allow. So it's
Mhm.
about allowing you as this aspect, knowing that you have a greater mission, and that mission continually evolves. It's, where I started 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, it's all continually
Yeah,
evolving, and it gets to be even greater than anything I ever imagined, the more that I'm willing to just say yes and show up where I'm supposed to be, right?
absolutely. Oh
And
my
so,
goodness, so true. It's like, wow. And I just love you
yes,
I just love you so much because you're on board with me with the whole surrender thing, because everybody else thought I was like crazy and I was being difficult, and you're like, why are you resisting that? You should just, it's like, I hate that word. Even
yeah,
today I used it. And it's like, I hate that word surrender, so we're not going to usually use it that way. I'm just going to say surrender your resistance, surrender, but anyways, whatever. But it's like,
yes, just allow the other aspects of you to come forward. I mean,
yeah.
that is the biggest thing. Merging with your higher aspect of yourself is phenomenal. I like raising my white flags.
Yeah.
It's cute. Um, I find that for all of us, as we each do this and we continually move forward and do the best we can to stay in alignment, because it's not perfect. And that's the other part about being human that I love to talk about, because I think we're awesome at beating ourselves up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no amount of releasing limitations and beliefs that makes you stop doing that until you've reached that level where you are in allowance, because then it doesn't come up anymore. So when you're allowing your higher self to guide you, there's no more beating yourself up about woulda, shoulda, coulda. But at the same time, we're human. And until we're not human, we still have to honor that aspect of ourselves. It's still part of yourself. And I think that that's that heart harmony practical side that has to happen. We're still have emotion, still things can hurt us, even even no matter, I think, how high your vibration is, as long as we're still here, we're
Yeah.
still people. And that's the dance, I think. I mean, it's nothing is just straightforward, right? It's all complex in a way. There's many aspects of ourselves, many energetic bodies of ourselves all the way up. And the more of that we heal, the easier it is to be in divine flow. And that's, for me, that's my approach, is that energetic healing of the soul's consciousness, your heart's consciousness, the emotional body's consciousness, because that travels with you throughout all lifetimes. and existences throughout all of the dimensions, and we didn't originate as humans. So we're higher vibrational beings, and that means you have to heal it from that higher vibrational frequency in order for it to be healed. So I get a lot of people who say, well, I've done a lot of healing programs, and I've done a lot of this programs and that programs. Well, the answer that I give is that you have to be at a frequency of about tenfold of the frequency at which the trauma occurred or the incident occurred. So let's say you were in a ninth dimensional existence at the time. So your frequency has to be tenfold or whatever the baseline frequency was for where you were in existence. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So things don't clear until you're at that frequency to unlock what needs to be realigned from that period and released. So that's why some things still stick, right?
Yeah.
But it is wow. But you know what's cool is that we're at a frequency now that's higher that we're able to access. So it allows us to go to these higher vibrational existences that need healing and clearing. And that's what's so amazing. So if trauma was really horrible at a very early age, and there were many repeated. Okay, Carolyn, I haven't read your whole thing, but I'm going to answer it as this. We are here in this existence. It's not to say that it hasn't occurred, but it occurs as a reminder that there are deeper, higher vibrational issues that were there, and then they repeat over and over. And it doesn't mean that we can't create other experiences, but in general, it will come down to experiences that ended up bringing us to this lower vibration to begin with. And then we have repeated experiences that remind us we need healing. And those can go all different ways, right? They're not always pleasant. But it means that in order to, let me say it like this. In order to forgive a person or forgive yourself, it's very hard to do it when you're currently in that emotional energy. Would you agree, Lara?
Yeah, for sure.
It's very hard to be, truly feeling like you can do it. But when let's take the repeated abuse, she says. So when I get angry, okay. So anyway, so what the answer here is when you go to a higher frequency and you start healing and forgiving yourself from a higher vibrational frequency for all the other existences where you have allowed yourself to be harmed, let's say, okay? Then what happens is the emotional charge that's from this lifetime loses that under baseline that supports it, and sometimes even makes you trigger even more angry than maybe the incident would ordinarily do, because it's actually taking all the energy from all of it and it comes out. And so I have a lot of people are like, well, why? So that's why I get so angry. And it could be something really simple, right? And the reason is because there's a lot of debris that holds a baseline of anger and irritation. So in order to get rid of that baseline that's being carried with you throughout all lifetimes, you have to heal it from the higher vibrational frequencies in which it was created. Then you're able to much more easily forgive and just let it go in this lifetime. Does that make sense? It's so amazing and cool how it happens.
Well, I know that sometimes, I was talking a couple of weeks ago about, we did a process, probably a forgiveness process. I'm not sure anymore. Or I was talking about an incident, and it's like, oh, I don't have any more charge on that. It's like, and it's first time in like 25 years, like, oh, I don't have any more charge on that. And it's like, oh, awesome. Because, I had been doing so much healing, so much work on that issue over the years. And then finally one day it's like, it's just gone. Right. And, but the thing is, it's like, it's not about finding that wound and healing it when you're already upset and frustrated about something. It's more of, for me, I think it's like when something comes up and you get triggered by something, work on that in that moment, and if that is related to that at some, farther down then it will clear a layer or a little bit of it at that time. And so each time just work on what's coming up in the moment. This is not about going back and looking and digging and clearing the past. It's like, in this moment now, keep your vibration raised, and when something triggers you, because things will, like you said, right? Then do the healing on that, right?
Here's the thing, Alara, that's really awesome. Eventually you get past the place where you're just healing and clearing.
Yeah.
That's when you know that your vibrational baseline is higher than that 0 to 200 according to the scale of consciousness by Dr. David Hawkins. And that's what I use because everybody knows it. And it's very simple to understand. So we come in at the baseline frequency of 0 to 200, which is the fear-based frequencies: guilt, fear, sadness, depression, alone, abandoned, all of those yuckies. Anything yucky, it's going to be in there. So
right.
we come in at that, and your mind is in control in that frequency bandwidth. Okay. It's your mind's main objective is to keep you safe.
Yeah.
It's to keep you from harm. It's to keep you, in food, clothes, shelter, the basic Maslow's hierarchy of, right? That's what your mind is in control of. And what we are doing when we talk about reprogramming our mind, what we're really saying is our mind has to shift from the program of I'm in charge and in control because my job is to keep you safe. And then we're asking the mind to move into the triangle of heart, spirit, mind. And that allows your heart and spirit and mind to work together, with your heart being the lead. So you're basically, when everybody talks about mind reprogramming, that's very hard for most people because it's not just about a belief. You're actually talking about being at a frequency high enough to reprogram the way it was programmed, right?
Right. Yeah.
So when we do this, then we raise our frequency to that next 200 level, okay, which is courage, which is really about living through the heart. That's what courage means, living through your heart. And so what happens in this trajectory is the way to get there is not specific necessarily lifetimes. I'm a big proponent, and everybody wants to know the fastest and easiest way, right? So what I start with is it's forgiveness. It's forgiveness of yourself.
For sure.
It is forgiveness of God. It is forgiveness, asking forgiveness from all those you may have hurt throughout all the lifetimes. I call these my general sweep cleanups because it's what you're talking about. Because then what's left is going to be the something that you have to dig into, right? And so you get to do this massive clean energetically throughout as high as you can reach. And when you work with a practitioner, you can go higher because again, we say, the more, when we come together, we can exponentially raise our frequency. So there's that. And then now we're all being asked to move from that baseline of 200 to where we're holding it and not being dragged down into the drama like we talked about before. So when you're at that baseline, you'll find that you're not being dragged in all the time, nor do things get even triggered anymore. It's very interesting. I always like to use my husband as an example. He's such a sport. So, he's a little bit more emotional, and I've always been more practical. That's just me. I'm a business person. I understand business. I understand making money. All those things, that's easy for me. I've always relied on my mind. That's the way it is. So he's the more emotional one, which is kind of interesting. But he'll come in and he'll be like, oh my God, Gabrielle, this is what just happened. And then he'll tell me the story. And what's interesting is it just comes to me like what the answer is. And, most recently, there's a big change to his plans and what we thought, the universe was providing. And it seemed like it was great. It was all going to be working out just perfectly. And then he's like, oh my God, the dean of his university told him, well, you're not done with your PhD, so we can't give you a job in the fall while you're writing your dissertation. You have to actually already have it in order. And he's already been teaching there for 5 years. So that's crazy, right? It's like, wait, suddenly I don't have a job, but I've been teaching here 5 years. Okay. So that's 3D life, right? And so he came down to tell me, and, of course it hurt him because he's like, I've already been here 5 years. I've written a whole curriculum. He's done a lot of great things. And I just looked at him. I said, you know what? Then there's something else that needs to come forward. And we have to just ask for that to come as quickly as possible, right? And so literally the next day, he was back at the university. And sure enough, the next piece fell right in. But that's what we mean by divine alignment. So that wasn't in divine alignment anymore. And that's okay. We let it go instead of trying to make it work and all these other things. It was just about what is actually supposed to come in next. And for him, it was that the school that he was getting his PhD through allowed him to go on the fast track to finish his PhD, so that he would finish it about 6 to 8 months faster than before. So then he could actually get back on his timeline. So it's really fascinating. And I think that when you see it more as fascinating, like, well, what's next then, right? It's
Yeah.
not how I think it's going to be. So for all of us, I think that's the hardest part, is to let go of what we want and what we think, staying in divine alignment, allowing it to come through your heart, and to realize that when things happen, it is, as you say, it's not even about that particular symptom. It's about what's asking what you need to heal in order to be in the highest divine alignment. And when you ask it that way, you'll be amazed at what happens for you.
Absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. And, it's also about asking, what can be a contribution to me? Like what is the next thing that's going to contribute to me in my life and my, moving forward, right? And I was talking about this earlier today too. It's like, I said, well, when one door closes, another one opens. Right. But you have to let that door close. You can't, keep your foot in the door and keep it ajar. Like if one door closes, another one will open. So let it open.
Put your energy towards allowing that next door to open. That's exactly what that story I gave is saying. I mean, yes, understood. It's hurtful. Understand that's, hurts your ego, your pride, all these things, and all of our plans and all this other stuff, right? And it's being in the understanding that there's always a higher plan. And, for me, I kind of see it in a funny way. I always imagine that your higher self, your soul, and all the beings that are orchestrating, meeting this person or this opportunity to come, because they have to deal with us 3D people, right? Mm-hmm. And our own minds getting in the way and us not listening and taking the cue when we get it, right? And so I always imagine them up there like having to rearrange things, because it's like, oh man, she didn't listen. Oh, now I have to rearrange this and get it. And it's in my own head, and it makes me laugh, because I think to myself, in our way, we are disconnecting ourselves because we're not able to be in the moment, right?
Absolutely. And yeah.
So I want to do the best I can to allow whatever plans they have going to continue on, because I know that then I will get to what it is I'm wanting faster, because that seems to me to be where things take longer, is when I get in my own way.
Yes.
And so it takes longer to get things in alignment again and get the other people to show up that need to show up. Right? So it's kind of an interesting, I see it as a game. I think it's fun.
And it's interesting how we do get in our own way, right? And so many times, and just because we want to control, we want to have some semblance of control. I've always said, I think I'm in control, but I'm not quite sure anymore. There are some times when it's like, what is going on, right? And again, it's like, because we're in our head, we're trying to figure it out. We're trying to manipulate. We're trying to plan and things like that. But being in this reality too, you have to have a plan. It's, sometimes you do have to plan, but then it's about having the plan and then allowing for it to unfold how it's going to, or whatever is going to unfold as it's going to, what is for your highest and best, right?
Yes. I mean, this is what we're really talking about, is the spiritual and the practical and the action. I mean, this is the part that I probably find the most frustrating when I speak with people, is that we have to be able to take this higher vibrational energy and our ability to connect with it, to listen, and then to take the action, because we're the ones here in the third dimension. So in actuality, we have to pick up the phone. We have to do, I had to board a plane and come to London. Mm-hmm. There are things that we have to do that requires us to have that action piece. So having just the one piece isn't enough. And this is where I find the disconnect for people the most. They think that, well, once I become spiritual and I raise my vibration, it should all just happen. And I know, and see, that for me, that's what breaks my heart for people. It's like, listen, it is we are third dimensional. You are still human, okay? And back to my game of how I see the other side working, right? They're running around trying to get us to do what we need to do. That's the point. They're trying to move us into position, and then we refuse to move because they're like, well, it should just happen. Like, because I hear it's supposed to come with ease and grace.
Exactly.
Well,
Follow the
it does.
joy. If you follow the joy, the money will come.
Yeah, I mean, but you're like, you have to still do something. You still have to make yourself available. You still have to uh, be able to take all the pieces and walk and let go of what needs to be let go of as it comes. I think that that's the dance. And I think all part of us as we are going along this way, it's to support each other in moving and being in alignment and allowing what needs to come in and out to do so. But for all of us now, it's action time. Like before was more about the healing and the clearing. And now the energy is about moving. And I don't know exactly when that shifted, but I would say after last summer when the golden heart frequency opened up on this planetary scale, that's when it's like the directive is get cleaned up already. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It's time now for us to band together. And I was thinking about it 20 years ago when I first started my healing journey. I had been told that, we run in 26,000 year cycles. Okay. And many are now saying we're past the 25,000 year mark. Like, so we're in this golden age, right? And this is what's supposed to happen. And at the same time, we have that 26,000 year cycle going on, which means we're coming to the end, which means we're being offered this next opening. So that's to get to this place. We've all been doing work, but now to get to this next place, it's the group aspect. But you can't take part in that aspect until you've handled the personal enough to add your energy in a positive way. So we're being given the opportunity. I really want to say we're being challenged because it is a challenge. Okay. It's not always rosy sometimes, but it's the truth of it. And so our making that transition to being a fifth dimensional being in a human body means that we are in alignment and we're taking the action, and then we are providing not just for ourselves, but for everyone. Does that make sense? So it's kind of like the next phase, and we've already moved into that third phase now.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you. And that, and that is what it's about. It's about creating for everyone, not just for ourselves, but creating for all of humanity, creating for the planet, creating for your own communities, what works for you, how can you serve? And that is a question that we're still asking on a regular basis. How can I serve? How can I serve? How can I serve? And go ahead.
I'm going to add here to that because recently I got the understanding, because I always thought that to serve meant that I was doing my life mission. Okay. And so that's how I got here to where I am now. But recently another level of that happened where I understood that to serve is to be the highest frequency beacon of light you can be, even if that meant you're just sitting here. We're just sitting here.
Right.
And then we all create that huge mosaic, joining our light together. And that's how we do it. But again, everybody has to be at, 100 watts or 500 watts, really, right? So we all need to be at that 500 watts in order for that mosaic to have the frequency it needs to lift all of us up, right?
Yeah.
So it's we're at the next level. I mean, there's just no getting around it anymore. We've been moved. The chess game has proceeded.
And we're still playing the game, right?
It is. I mean, I always see it like a video game. I always explain it that way. When you first come in level 1, you have no powers, no abilities, and you're pretty, you don't even know how the game works. And, now we've had over the last many years where we've all been able to tap into our gifts and our abilities more and more, and we have been releasing, and now it's to the place of, I can't even imagine what's next, what other abilities are there, because I'm always happily surprised when I'm connected to the other side and I'm given a gift of what it is that I'm able to utilize. And it what makes me realize, God, the vastness of universal knowledge is amazing, right? And us being able, did you just read that? It can be frustrating. But the thing about all of this is to move from that frustration piece and knowing that as you need it, it comes. The information comes, the ability to help and to, like we talked about, tapping into that higher vibrational frequency. There comes a point where there are other things that you can do that you're not exactly at that frequency, but there are tools that can be utilized that are outside of this dimension. They're at a higher dimension that you're able to use to help heal things at a much faster rate for people. Because, like I said, getting your heart, spirit, and mind in alignment is how you become connected fully up to your soul, which is how you consciously create wealth and abundance for yourself and then for everybody else. You do have to be able to do it for yourself before you're going to do it for everybody else, because that's how we teach it. Right? When you've experienced it for yourself, you're able to teach it to others, and you're able to help others get there even faster. Right. And that's what we're talking about, is that as each of us have gone through our own process, we're then we move to a frequency where then we're able to help others do it faster than we did. So 1999 is when I had my first huge awakening, but I had already been having healing work done for like 3 years before that. So you know what I mean? It's like, but each piece brings us to the next piece. And for each person and everybody even listening, you already know you're walking the walk, and you're listening to people, and you're looking for that nugget, that seed that you need to help get you to the next level, to your next level, your next piece. And the service piece, knowing that you're part of your next level of service is being the highest beacon of light you can be, tells you the direction you need to go, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's also how you create wealth and abundance. So it goes together. It's not separate.
And you know, when you say it like that, it sounds so simple. You know, it's just raise your vibration and maintain that vibration, and just keep in that vibration, stay in your heart, and you know, and pay attention to the messages and pay attention to the nudges, right? And
You do them even when they don't make sense.
Yes.
Because most of the time they're not going to make sense. And then you miss out on the magic of how it actually does make sense. You just didn't understand it because you weren't in the place to understand it.
Yeah. And get out of your head, stay out of your logical mind, and just follow through.
Well, that's it.
What, Linda?
Linda. Well, again, though, here's the thing about money, and I want to get on the record as saying it. For many people, they really put the energy and focus that if they had the money, then I could work on my mission. Then I could quit my job and I would be happier. And then this, that, and the other. So for me, when I put myself through college and I had to work really hard, I grew up poor, but that was never a story for me. It wasn't never a thing where I latched onto it. I just understood that I needed to work hard and I would be able to create the life I wanted. And that was my premise, and that's how I moved forward. So even as I was, constructing my life with this idea, and I was doing all the things that everybody tells you to do in order to create that life. And when it started to unravel, that's when I started going, okay, what did I screw up? Because I'm fairly intelligent. I should have been able to get these pieces to fit together. And I spent a lot of my energy trying to do that. Then I finally began looking deeper. Well, even in that time, I still would only allow that deep wake up to really only go so far, because I didn't want to actually be a healer. I didn't want to go back into my intuitive self and all that. I just wanted to live a normal life. And that's always how I described it. I just wanted to be normal and I didn't want to do anything else. And then I made a lot of money. So I had a $1.4 million house in Scottsdale, Arizona. So very high end. I always laugh. I laugh now and I always tell it as a joke. Our home was on 3/4 of an acre of grass in the desert. So I can tell you that my water bill was no less than $600 a month for the water to water my lawn. Totally ridiculous. But I was making plenty of money and it didn't matter. It was like, whatever. And what I can say to you is, even though I had, my financial success and I had my professional success and I had my husband and I had 2 small daughters at the time, it seems from the outside that everything is great, right? Because you have money. But I still wasn't doing my mission. I was still staying very compartmentalized and I wasn't growing as a person. And when all that superfluous stuff was taken away, basically because of the housing crisis, and I was in mortgage and finance, so there you go. I was right in the heart of it. I was left as shell of a person. It took me probably about 1.5 years to finally go, who am I and what am I doing, right? So the thing about having money is it just disguises other problems. And so for the people that I work with that have money and that's not their issue, they still have a laundry list of issues, okay? Because, and so it doesn't matter what it is that's missing, okay? If it's I need more money or I need to have a partner to share it with or whatever, health, step out of that and ask for what it is you need actually to be in divine flow with your abundance, with what you're here to do. Because all that other stuff and everything Alara and I have talked about is about when you get in that place, then your energy isn't being used to say, well, if I just had enough money, I could solve A, B, C, D, and E, and everything would be great, and then I could do this and that and the other. It just doesn't work like that, because that is not how the templates of origin for when this planet was created, this 26,000 years. See, I'm going to tie it all back together for you. So the 26,000 years, every 26,000 years, there is a new template of origin, new operating instructions that are provided for that next 26,000 years. So what people are attempting to do is to go outside of the programming for how it is that we learn our lessons, which the lesson isn't what we think, like I'm never going to do that again, or I'm going to do this instead, or all those things. That's not the lesson. The lesson is always going to come down to you, of course. It's about loving and accepting yourself, forgiving yourself, loving and accepting source, God, creator, whatever that is, and your connection to source, God, and creator, okay? Bar none, it is always going to come down to that. And if you have an issue with that, that's something then that you do need to heal within, okay? Because that is how this is set up. It's to bring us back into wholeness. It's to reconnect us to who we really are. Who are we really? We are part of source. So that's the short part of it. And yes, it sounds easy, and it's easier and easier as we move along. But the crux of this and how this timeline is set up is that as these energies intensify, how we started our conversation, is that it will force you to choose a side. You're either going to do it or you're not. There's no middle anymore. So for whatever your reasons are for, that you can't do it, that you have to look into. Because that's just stopping you. And either way, that's a decision, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's a choice.
We hate that.
We're all making.
Not to decide is a decision.
Yep. And that was, I was just going to say the same thing, Caroline. That was brilliant. That was beautiful. And that was so on point. That is exactly what it is. And so if you are resisting your connection to source, to spirit, if you are still angry, you know, at source, at yourself, if you're not forgiving yourself and God and creator, you know, I still have some stuff. I know, I think.
I'm telling you,
it's gotten better.
Exactly. It gets better and it gets easier. And that's what we want to encourage everybody is that, look, it gets easier, but you have to be willing to walk it. And I always have described it as Hansel and Gretel, instead of them leaving crumbs so they can find where they've been. I always see it as Hansel and Gretel, and that your spirit is putting down the crumbs for you to follow.
Right.
Okay. So you have to follow that. And that's probably the biggest hurdle for people, is being willing to follow the crumb, because it never shows up as the red Ferrari in your driveway. Okay. Never. I can almost unequivocally say it never does. Just like when I was asked as a guest on this trip to add my frequency to the work we're going to do, I knew nothing about the trip. I was just asked, wasn't told what we were doing, what the agenda was. It wasn't even set. But I said yes, because I felt within that was the answer to do it. And then later you see how that flowered out into amazing other things, right?
Right.
And so that's the part that we're talking about here. You don't get the magic without the yes. And the yes is not knowing the 10 different points of what's going to happen and why it makes sense to do it and why it doesn't. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I have left 3 children at home with my husband for 7 days.
Yay,
and
you.
I laugh. I know, yay me. So I laugh because last year I said to my husband, I just want you to know this year, I will be traveling more, because I knew last year that I would be called to go out into the world versus just staying at home, to bring my light to places. And I didn't know how that was going to look. I just said, just here's your heads up. That's what I'm getting. And I'm just giving it to you. That's what's going to happen. And so over the last couple months, the first time I left them, it was for 5 days. The next time I left them, it was for 6 days. And this time it's for 7 days. And I am laughing. I'm just like, this is really funny. But each time that I come home, I think, oh gosh, 5 days maybe was too much. And originally I was thinking that first time, gosh, 5 days, that maybe I need to make it 4. But then the next time it increased, and it's increased again. And you have to laugh. You think,
exactly,
what is preparing me for? What is preparing them for? So it's okay.
They can handle it.
They're handling it great. And that's the point, is that I don't need to worry about it. I already got the directive, and my husband did too. I will be traveling a lot more, and that's just how it is. And we will make it work, however that looks, right?
Exactly. So say yes, and then figure it out, right?
That's it. You just allow it to figure itself out. That's the difference. Like, I'm talking to you as a full-on mind person, okay? I've always been a mind person, right? The thing is that it actually works out way cooler if my mind is not involved. I know how hard I would try to get things to work. And so now I can say, here's the fun, the magic and the miracle is, all I have to do is say yes, and just allow the pieces to come together and to keep saying yes, right? So that's what we ask everybody. That's where we are in the time now. You just need to get out of your head. And when your head throws up those thoughts, then you already know that you need to do something to bring yourself back into alignment with your divine self. Because when your head is going all the time, that tells you right there. And my other keywords for people is I'm doing or I'm trying. Those 2 words are your keywords for knowing you're out of alignment.
Yeah, I'm doing. Well, I use doing a lot. I don't do trying. I use a lot of doing. But and that's and I know that, and I've seen that now. It's like, I'm way overdoing. It's like it's time to pull back, time to go within. Right. And we'll see about the doing later. So I'm starting to honor more of that for myself too, because I'm like Linda. Linda says, I lend my light without compensation, mostly just family and friends who expect the healings. I was overgiving. I'm still overgiving, but I overgive, I overdeliver, I overgive, I overdo, and now it's like, let's pull back. Let's pull back. Let's go back within a little bit more and see what else is required and what else is coming up next. Because if you're constantly giving, doing, you're you're not being. There's no space for being, right? As much space for being.
Yes. I mean, the being piece is that piece where you're in synchronization. I mean, all this is about synergy of energy. That's all.
I like
mean,
that.
and when we're
Synergy of
not,
energy.
yes, when we're not there, we're out of the flow. And
Yeah.
it's in the flow that the money does show up every time. It's pretty amazing. Whatever needs doing, you know. I mean, I could think of a gazillion things, as everybody can. Things happen because, again, we're human and we live here in this third dimension, and we need cars and all that. We need housing and all those needs. But what I feel from the other side is it's almost like you have to bring yourself into the highest alignment that you can, and then those easy needs are handled. Does that make sense? But we put ourselves on the, those survival needs first, because that's the original programming.
Yeah.
And so then we say, well, when those are met, then I'll go do these higher needs. But actually, we're being asked to reverse it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, makes total sense. Thank you. Bye, Angel 888. But I know it's
All right.
gone.
Well, what would you like to do next?
Let's talk about the special offer.
Okay.
So for those of you who are on the live page, you can just click on special offer. Those of you who are not, you can go to alara.at/show/Gabrielle. And so there's 2 packages that you're offering today, right? Gabrielle, package A and B.
I am. And I'm going to do this from recollection since I don't have it in front of me.
Oh,
so
I can share the screen. Give me 1 second. Let's hope I do.
Ooh, cool.
Let's hope I do this. I'm going to, oops, hold on 1 sec. I'm going to pin you, and then I'm going to do the thing.
I can tell you, I know package A is the Golden Heart Frequency Transmission, and it contains the 3 steps as I talked about them. Okay. Thank you.
Can you see them? Yep.
Yes. So yes, of course, it's about being moved through the golden heart frequency into the 5th dimensional high vibe energies, right? So in this package I think if you scroll down, it'll tell us, the first one, as I said, was, yes, freeing yourself from the 3D lower mass consciousness, unconditional 5D heart healing, and activating your high vibe abundance consciousness, and igniting. Ooh, I love that golden heart.
It was in there.
Send me those. Igniting the golden flame within your heart is gorgeous. Please send that to me, Laura.
Okay.
Okay. So that is all done with the golden heart frequency, this higher vibrational energy that is moving you faster through these limitations and beliefs, and allowing you to be released from that lower dimensional third consciousness, that 3D consciousness that we keep talking about, that drags us back. And that we want to be freed from that matrix, right? Okay, so that's our first package A. And then package B is giving you those same things, those same 4. And this is so awesome. So this is what's happened. And again, we're back to how everything evolves, right? So I was given this Infinitely Wealthy Woman group intensive, and it's going to be 3 different sessions, 1 hour each group, done in a group. And it's about clearing your multidimensional limitations, the beliefs, and blocking your conscious wealth creation, connecting your heart, your spirit, your mind, and soul to supercharge your insight, intuition, and abilities. And 3 is aligning with and activating your soul's keys and codes for your wealth and abundance. And here is what has happened even since I gave this to you, is like the next piece is, it's about taking these keys and codes and the seeds that we are activating here in London and providing them through this intensive for people so that they're moved quicker through their clearing of that multidimensional stuff that we talked about, things that you're not able to get on your own because you're not at a high enough frequency to undo them, basically. Then we're back to that connecting of your heart, spirit, and mind, as we talked about. And then anchoring in this higher vibration of conscious wealth creation, the seeds of that. So as I'm understanding more and more about what we're doing here, there is something, a tie to something that I have downloaded in the past, and it always cracks me up how things circle, right? It's not that they ever leave, it's that they just keep growing and transforming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's about Metatron's cube. Metatron's cube, we all know, is the key to the universe of everything, universal knowledge and other dimensions, and creating and being able to create, like I said, plucking it out of the matrix. So what we're doing here is seeding, and I hold these templates of origin, these new origin for the fifth dimensional existence. I hold a piece of it, and I hold the 13th seed, which we know from the tree of life and the keys of, do I have Metatron's cube within me? Yes. And it's something that I teach, not in this course, but the point of this is that we're taking all that stuff we did in the past and we're condensing it now. It's so amazing because the energy is higher. It's not like we have to go through as much stuff as we did before to get here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
It's almost like, I want to say, collapsed into these seeds. And that's what's being transmitted and implanted and helping us to raise our vibration and to operate at this higher programming. Okay. So that is what this intensive is about. And so that's why I just gave you the change, because I realized that's what's needed for all of us at large. Right. So that's why, Laura, I just sent that to you the other day. I realized, oh my goodness, here it is. That's part of what I'm here for. And now we'll bring it out to the community.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
I know.
Yep. And
So
it's
awesome.
exciting because it's like, I wonder once people go through those calls and those processes and those changes, what they'll be able to create now, right? So, and not just for themselves, but for all of us, because, once one person starts, then next person and next person, it exponentializes, and it's available for more and more of us, right?
And easier and easier.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the part that gets so cool. It's just like you saying, you received the golden flame ignition a couple of weeks ago. And I think I did this channeling in January. January 1st is when that golden heart ignition. So it's just happened. And so that's, to me, what's so amazing. Like you said, it's like the 100th monkey, but we're all getting the information and we're all bringing it out. And then we corroborate, like, oh my God, I just did that. I just saw that. And so we're helping everybody get on the same page. That's the point. We cannot create this next piece, which is huge, if we're not all contributing our seeds to it, our pieces that we hold within our own energetic makeup, within our own soul. And through that, we create just the everything. I just keep hearing it. It's like you just create the everything.
Oh, wow. And the everything. I got goosebumps when you said that. The everything.
It's what I keep hearing. And it's like, I've not used that, but I realize it's the right words. It's like we are beyond segmenting what it is we're creating. We're moving into these higher vibrational beings ourselves. And as you said, we're anchoring it in this third dimension, which is what has to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Carolyn. I'm excited you're in. So
I was
that's
going to
what
ask
we're bringing.
Yeah, and I was just about to ask you. So, who would this package be for? And Renetta got goosebumps too.
Yeah, so Renetta, we want to see you too in the intensive, because the more of us that are together, that are of high frequency, guess what happens? We get to go even higher than what we even think is on the board. I mean, what I've outlined there for you has already changed, which is why I sent it to you, because I was like, you know what? I just got the understanding of, oh my God, this is more than I thought when I was given it a month ago. And it's as we all continue to evolve, it does more than anything we think it's going to do. And so when we get together, even if we have an agenda, other things happen because it's our energy coming together and it's like supercharged. And so when we're supercharged and at this high frequency, people get goosebumps. They get the understanding, even though they may have heard the words 100 times. But it's because the frequency is high enough for that information to be unlocked. I call them data packets.
Yeah.
It's high enough for it to just suddenly come over them like, oh my God, now I get it. Now they may not be able to explain it, but they got it. they understood it at a cellular level, which is more important than your brain getting it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have these conversations because what I have learned in my time doing this is that our minds have to buy in so it doesn't fight you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your brain has to consciously go, yeah, okay, I understand that. And you have
Yeah.
to give it a basic understanding. And so that's why, we have these talks so that people understand where we're going and what has to happen. And now we're asking everybody to join your heart in not only the work that I'm doing here, but what we're continually doing, because no
Yeah.
time like the present.
Oh, absolutely. And, and moving forward, it is about creating more and more and more. And it's about creating what what lights us up, right? Right.
Yes.
What feels good to our soul, not about the mind. I mean, I could say 100 things too. It's like, oh, I've been saying already. It's like, I want to go to some sacred sites this year, my love. So I'm telling my husband, so I'm already seeding it in, seeding it.
Yes.
Like, I want to go to some sacred sites. And so, looking at stuff like that. But so is that my mind talking, or is that my soul saying, you know what, it's time to
No, I mean,
more.
even here, we are going to Stonehenge. And the other morning,
Oh,
I was just told
lucky.
this the other day. I know, right? We're going to seed new codes there. And I was doing my little morning meditation. I'm not a big meditator. So just doing my morning thing. And I got check crop circles near Stonehenge. And I thought, okay, so I tap it in. And last June 2018, a crop circle appeared within a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful. And so it looks like the flower of life, like behind you, that
Mm-hmm.
kind of a flower in the middle.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then it almost looks like code, like Aztec code or code like from a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, so it has this really interesting thing. And I said to the group, I said, you know what? I think we're going to go and we're going to do energy work there, because that's probably where the new ley lines are compared to where they were in the days of Stonehenge. And so it was just really amazing because, yes, we know all about Stonehenge. But the point is that the energetic of Stonehenge has also changed, right? We all know, even when we go to ancient sites, that they've lost that energy that was there when they were sacred sites, because the earth shifts, things shift, etc. So I'm going to be really excited to go to this most recent crop circle, which just happened last summer solstice. So, 8 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And see what we get called to do. And I think that when you go to these sacred sites, Lara, that's your question, is what area around here is holding that energy and recoding it? Because that's what we're doing now. We are all holding these higher vibrational templates that have to be seeded so that we can move into this fifth dimensional existence.
It's exciting. It's an exciting time, and that's what I want everyone to get. It's a really exciting time. And so it's about, looking at it and saying, oh, okay, what would be fun for me? Like what would be fun for me to create, and who do I want to create with, right? So when I started this series, there are a lot of new speakers and guests, because I wanted some, it's like, who do I want to play with? It's like, I'm different now this year. I'm holding a different energy, and it's like, and so I wanted to talk to some new people. So it's like, who can I talk to? Who would be fun, right? And so, it's been amazing. It's like so much fun already, so it's like, and asking those types of questions for yourself is like, okay, what would be fun? What would be exciting? What would be great? What would be new? And opening new portals and re-emerging or re-energizing old ones to reignite the higher vibrations. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, I'm looking at places in Italy, and I'm going to go to Stonehenge in July, and I'm looking like, what else would be fun? And also here, right here in Vienna, where I am, Neo and I go for a walk, 4 times a day. But even when we're walking, it's like, people just look at him, they're looking at him, and they're saying, oh my God, he's so cute. And it brings so much joy to them, like I see them like light up, right? And so I'm not doing anything. I'm just walking with him. They don't even see me. But, I'm still anchoring that light here in Vienna and changing, exactly.
Yes, you are. And I was going to say, I mean, just you being there in their presence, back to the beacon of light.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
if you weren't approachable, it doesn't matter how cute your dog is. Right?
True.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're still being attracted by the whole energetic.
Yeah.
And that's about people, and they are attracted, and we start to see it in just the simplest of things that happen that you're not even trying to make happen.
Right.
This is what I find now to be the most fun, is just when you were thinking you needed something and then boom, it just shows up. And you're like, wow, that was really amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where we want to move everybody's energy to, because that's conscious wealth creation. It just came to you and then suddenly, boom, the answer is right there. And that is a process. And the process means that you have to get to the place where you're holding a baseline frequency. And so that there other things that are going on in life aren't dragging you down to where you're not able to hold that baseline.
So
And if you do drop, you have to get back into it.
yeah, you definitely, and we do drop from time to time. I mean, there's no
Yes,
question,
it
but
happens.
it it's up and down. So these two packages, are they designed to raise your vibration, raise your frequency, help you to maintain
Yes.
that, um,
Listen often. I
yeah.
mean, I've had people, I was doing a on stage live last fall, and I sent just the music portion of the first Golden Heart frequency transmission, just the music, because I wanted him to play it when I was going to be on stage and doing my actual transmission.
Mm-hmm.
And so he didn't know anything other than that I sent him my music, right? And he wrote me and he said, I opened this up and it started to play and I immediately started to cry. He said, what did you put in that music? Did you put something in the music? And I said, yes, it's the Golden Heart frequency. I'm like, that's what it is. And he wrote me more stuff, but he was so moved
Mm-hmm.
just because of what's in that energy. And it's healing. And so my point in that is, consciously, he didn't know it was supposed to do anything.
Right.
Yet it had this profound effect on him. And that's what energetic work is. It's not about you having any pre-idea of what it's going to do for you. It's about just allowing it to do what it does for you.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
more that you play it, it will go deeper and deeper and help you to heal that higher vibrational stuff we're talking about. Sometimes it can't be healed first. You do have to get rid of the first several layers of yuck first, right?
Yeah.
So these
Exactly.
packages are designed to help you move along. And then when I do the intensive, we're going to go even deeper and get you to a place where you can hold the seeds, because that's the part about Metatron's cube. If the keys and seeds and all that comes with being able to hold Metatron's cube within yourself and activate it, well, that takes a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
And what I know from this work that we're doing is that we're making it so that maybe it's not so cumbersome like how I taught it 2 years ago. It feels like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize it at first when I was given the download that I'm holding the 13th seed, which then it only, as I was coming here, it was like, oh my God, wait a second, that's Metatron's cube stuff. What? And then it made me realize, again, the more vast scope here of what's
Mm-hmm.
really going on, right? And I don't even know half of it. It's just what this little piece that I get now.
Right.
So this intensive is designed to help us go back to do, like we said, clearing out the old stuff that it's still holding you back, and then helping you to raise your consciousness out of that victim 3D crap and raising it to higher. That unconditional love healing occurred. You're going to laugh. Somebody wrote me, they had purchased another of my programs, and the guy said, I can't open this unconditional heart healing. And so I went and listened to it because he said it didn't work or something. So I listened to it. I'm like, it's fine. It's good, but I recorded it, I don't know, 3 years ago. So I realized that my energy's changed. So I thought, well, I'll just do it again. And then
Mm-hmm.
something else completely came, of
Of
course.
course.
And so I'm like, oh, that goes in with the Golden Heart, unconditional love. So you understand how things get created. It's just
Yeah.
because I'm listening. It's not because I said, oh my God, I need to create this and I'm going to go do it.
Right.
It's whatever was divinely inspired and I just do it. I go, okay, yeah, I'll just go redo it. It's no big deal. And then boom. And
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be the same. The intensive is going to be designed about the people who are there and what it is that we're all needing to do to raise everybody's vibration. And again, to create that cohesive mosaic, which is where we're all being challenged and given the opportunity to step into holding our place in that mosaic.
Awesome. Wow.
Oh, Carolyn, I love that.
She's so excited. Yay. Caroline, I
Yes.
will send you the information shortly. She's like, she already purchased it. I already got your email, Caroline.
Good,
She's
good job.
excited. She's excited. Yeah.
That's
Cool.
awesome. And that's
Yeah.
what we want. We want everybody to come and just be part of it. And we will follow, of course, because you know I'm a mind thinker. So there's a structure. But I just like in everything we talk about, it always amazes me how it still circles around and it makes all sense by the time you're done. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's allowing that process to happen.
And you know, one thing I forgot to, and maybe I should write it in, that package B is only going to be available until March 1st.
Right, because the intensive is March 2nd.
Yeah. So, so I will write that in
It'll be,
afterwards. But yeah.
the intensive is March 2nd, 9th, and 16th at, I believe, 2 p.m. Eastern, those Saturdays. And there will, of course, will be the recordings made, but we would love for everybody to be there, as many as they can, because that's the energetic that unlocks more stuff we don't even know about yet.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like sometimes, you know, in these types of calls and these types of programs, it's all fresh, new energy, new information, new processes based on whoever's there and what's coming through at that time. Right. So,
Correct.
you know, so yeah, it's exciting. Yay.
Hey, I love being in this part of where we are. I mean, I think it's so awesome. And, you know, like I said, you know, you've come a long way. We've all been trudging along, and finally we're not in the trudging along place anymore, but we're having to get used to that new energetic of now we're being pushed along faster than ever before. So before it felt like we were dragging the weight of the world with us.
Yeah.
And now we're being pushed to leap forward. So it's a totally different energetic, but it's way more fun, frankly. I mean, I would love it way more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh,
so
absolutely. But it's faster. It's much faster, and I'm finding it's more. It's exciting. It's fun, and you just being in allowance the whole time because you don't know what's going to come next. You know.
That's it.
You have no idea what's going to come next.
You can make it fun or hate it, right? So if you hate it, there's work to be done. We are going fun because it's way more fun. It just reminds me of the Choose Your Own Adventure books when I was a kid. Where you read page 1 and then you have to make a choice. Do you go in the cave or around the cave? And then that'll take you to a different page. And that's where we are. We're just, if you say yes, you're going to this spot. If you don't do anything, then you go to this one, right? And so that's what we're encouraging everybody to do. Just say yes, go with it, and realize that what you need will come out of it and will move you to the next place. And the intensive and the package is extremely well priced. So everybody should be there. Exactly. So the point is for the most people we can have joining together to create this next piece.
Awesome.
So I hope everyone on the call and who listens will join us.
Yep. And so I will go back in and write down that package B is only available till March 1st. So that everybody knows as well. But yeah, it's like how exciting and how much more fun can we have on those 3 calls as well. But in the meantime, you know, listen to the transmissions from package A again and again and again to clear more and more and more and to raise your vibration frequency higher and higher and higher and maintain it, right?
Yes.
In preparation for the intensive.
The higher that people can come, the greater level of work we will uncover. What I know from work with people is that, you know, ancient souls, there's something really fascinating about ancient souls. I love ancient souls, of course, and old souls. It's that you are a being of such magnitude. Your soul has been involved in the creation of everything, right? Universes, races, everything. And when you're able to tap into your soul's level of knowledge at that level, where you're reconnected to your abilities and gifts of who you were then, and you are able to bring them into this 3rd dimensional existence because your frequency is high enough to hold them. See, that's the thing about gifts and abilities. We all talk about them, But if you're not at a frequency to activate that gift, it just sits out there. Like I always think of it as a bank account. It just sits out there in the bank account. You can't
Mm-hmm.
access it, but it's out there, right? When you're at a frequency high enough, you're able to access it. Then you have to be able to have the frequency to hold it and use it in this dimension. That's where a lot of people's disconnect is. They're like we talked about earlier, I've done this program. Why is it not working? It's not that it's not working. It's that you're not at a frequency for it to be able to bring from here down into here and out here, right?
Yeah.
And that's what then you need to work on. And so that's what we're doing, all of us.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop. There's no like grand finale or ta-da, here's the finish line. And that's what I've learned is like, you know, it gets better and better though. And it's
Yeah.
not like you need a finish. It's actually like, wow, I just can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah.
And
Keep playing the game.
that's it. You just keep playing and you realize that there's way more than you ever could have dreamed. And that for me, you know, it's kind of like what we said, you know, yes, I recorded that original unconditional heart healing 3 years ago, and that was great then. But wow, we've really come a long way.
Yeah.
And I realized, you know, wow, okay. And that's what we're doing. All of us, we're getting there faster because we have to.
Yeah.
Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Absolutely. So, you know, and that's the thing, it's like we can get there faster and with more ease if we do the work meaning raise our vibration, you know, so whatever that takes, and being kind to your body, but doing what your body requires. So as Gabrielle mentioned, the superfoods, or, you know, whatever works for you, you know.
Exercise, walk, get out in the sunshine.
Yeah, lemon water for me, you know, it's always, you know, but there's so many different things. So research and check in for yourself, right? And listen to high vibration transmissions, you know, I mean, I have lots, as you all know, and Gabrielle does too.
Yes, I do. And I have free stuff out there too.
Yep, absolutely. So, you know, try it out, play with it, you know, and then keep going, keep moving forward and say, okay, what else would be fun, you know, and take a look at the packages. They're available at alara.at/show/Gabrielle. And I hope to see some of you on the intensive with Gabrielle. I think I'll be there because it's like on a Saturday, you know, during the day. I can do that. I don't have to
I would love it.
You know, so it's like, how much more fun can we have together as a community as well, moving forward together, raising our vibration together, and creating that, you know, wealth, the conscious wealth for ourselves and our communities together, right? And that's what it's about. It really is about doing it together. So I'm so excited. So
thank you. I'm excited, and I've enjoyed your community of people. Thank you, everyone who's written in. It's been wonderful to share the time with you and to connect from my heart to yours and to your whole community. I thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle. And I'm so glad that you did this, you know, even, you know, being in London, you know, I'm in Vienna, so I know it's nighttime for both of us, but still, it was so much fun and so much information and such a high vibe, you know, and for me, it's like, I got a lot of ahas for myself. And so it's like, you know, yeah, this was exactly what was needed and required for my community and also for your community who you're working with this week, right? And, you know, it's like,
we always say, everybody join together. I mean, think about us this week. We'll be out and about doing our work Thursday and Friday during the day. So just think to yourselves, you know, I'm joining Gabrielle, sending love and light to her and her group, and for the work that's being done, because that's what we need, all of us. This is where I don't want to get into a long discussion about it, but in the past, we didn't do this part so well. We didn't play nice with each other so well. We didn't band together and work together the way that we need to in order to come out on the higher end of this. And so for me, that's really strong. It comes out all the time that it is together that we will create this fifth dimensional existence, right? And so everybody here, when we are together and adding our energy to the group work, that's when we all create consciously wealth and abundance for all of us, because it isn't just a singular event, and it's not, then you just have a one-off, you know, okay, you know, I always call it the one-hit wonders.
Right.
That's when you have the one-hit wonder, because you're not able to sustain the energy yourself.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah, this is for everyone, so if we can all collectively contribute to it, as well, contribute to all of us being in 5D, holding this golden heart frequency, for all of us combined. And I wonder what that will create for the whole planet, and for
Right.
the whole economic system and so on and so forth. I don't get into that very much myself, but, I wonder what that will create and that will change, right?
It
So,
all is going to be transformed. We don't know how or what it will look like. We
mhm,
just know and walk in faith that we're doing just what we feel is in the highest and best. And like I said, it's not with intention of what we're creating. It's being just the holder of the light, because it's the light that has the knowledge, it's the
mhm,
light that has the ability. Our job as service is to be able to hold it and project it.
mhm,
And so when we do that, we get out of the way of what it looks like and how it should happen. We just have to stay strong in that, because it's not always easy.
mhm.
That's
Yeah.
that's the hardest part. Again, we all want victory all the time, and we have to remember that the other side has to orchestrate things the best way that it can be orchestrated, and we have to allow that to be what it is. And so all of us are in our own highest divine selves. And and I was just reading that. So the part of this is we just do it banding together, and we get to have fun doing it. And that's what matters. Like, I love meeting you and everyone who's participated. It makes me happy. That's what I love doing. It's like,
Mhm.
it's so cool. Who could do, you're like, wow, this is awesome and great fun. And that's what I look forward to now. And I think to myself, gosh, and to think I didn't want to do this. And that was my big thing before. It's like, I do not want to go out in public. I don't want to speak. I don't want to do any of this stuff. I just want to do my own thing. And now I think back, God, what was I so afraid of? It was so silly. So all of us are being challenged in our own way to get out of our own way.
Absolutely. And now it's time for us to be that beacon of light, to serve and to be and to shine, and in however we do it, right? So
Yes. All
my
right. So
voice is going
everyone,
now.
hop on, grab package B so we can see you in person, and we can all join together in love and harmony. Because you know what? It's all frequency, baby. So it's harmony and math. It's all higher vibrational frequency. And
Absolutely.
the more that we raise our vibration, the more beautiful the music.
Oh, I
So
love
there
that.
you are.
And
I
we are
know.
creating music, so let's create beautiful music,
Thank
harmonized
you.
music. Yeah. I
It's
love it.
exactly it. I mean, this is what we want for everyone. So everyone, thank you. And you have a lovely night. Archangel
Yeah.
Michael is raising his sword. Oh, thanks, Carolyn.
Ah,
That's so pretty. See? We've had a lovely time,
beautiful.
Alara.
It was great. I love it. I can't talk anymore. So, but
It's time.
thank you so much, everyone, for everyone who's still with us. Thank you so much for being with us here today and taking this time. This has been a wonderful conversation. Please go back and watch or listen to it again, because there's so much information, so much wisdom, and so many nuggets. And yeah, definitely go and check out the two packages, package A and package B. And until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye
Oh,
for now.
bye-bye.
Bye. Have a great week in London.
Thank you. Thanks for being here with me, Alara. Bye-bye.
Bye for now. Talk to you soon.
All right, great.